welcome to the Backyard Machine Shop. Well guys, 3 more machines rescued. Two WF and J Barnes drill presses, and I looked at it and I can't find the manufacturer, but it's called Safety Emery Wheel Company grinder. Now that grinder's old. I'm bet you that grinder's probably in the 1880s or so. These drill presses probably date, I think this one may be a little bit earlier, but they're basically the same design. It's just shrank down. I mean, everything is basically the same, and some of the parts will actually come off of one and fit on the other if need be. But I'm thinking they're maybe 1910 to 1920 era drill presses. And what leads me to believe that is, now while this machine here was a line shaft machine, the shifter, the loose pulley, and all still on it. It's just somebody's adapted a pulley here to drive it from an air compressor or something. Anyway, it's actually was established as a belt shaft machine and a line shaft machine when it was new. This machine here actually has the base on it is cast with a motor mount in it. So this machine was a motor driven machine from the beginning. It's got two gear drives back here that go to a motor, and from what I understand from Mr. Field, that the motor had a fiber gear on it or something that drove. He said they were really noisy, and I've sit here and played with them a little bit, make sure everything's working, and everything does work on it. The feeds work, the auto feed works, everything works on this drill press. So that's cool. You know, this one it needs a counterbalance in it or a counterweight, and I really hadn't checked it out as well as I did this one here. Now this one's a 34-inch drill press. Now that's 17 inches from the column to the center of the hole. I'd say the table's a good 30-inch table. It's actually the largest drill press I've ever seen, other than a radial drill. But there was one, from what I gathered, there was one that was bigger, that was a 42-inch. Now this drill press here probably weighs about, I'm guessing, 3,500 pounds, and this drill press probably weighs in at like 2,700 pounds according to the literature I found on it. It may be a little less, a little more, I don't know, but I know one thing: they're heavy and tall. This one's, I'm standing here, I'm 5'11", and I'm saying that to the top of the shaft is probably 8 feet on this one, and well, maybe 8 feet total. I don't know, 7, 8 feet tall. And if you raise up this mechanism here, that you can actually put the spindle up this high and put a part probably 32 inches underneath it to drill it. So it's a monster drill press. Now, what am I going to do with 2 drill presses like this? Well, I have a Royce for 21-inch, and I always thought it was a big drill press, but it's nothing compared to these 2, especially this one. So what I'm planning on restoring this 34-inch, and I think I have somebody that wants the 28-inch, and they're going to be welcome to it and do whatever, you know, they'll do a restore on it or whatever. But anyway, I went and got them, kept them out in the scrapyard, and you know, that's where we at. This is probably going to be a while. Like, I need another project around here, but I couldn't let them go to the scrap. So, and I'm glad I did, because I really like this drill press. Is it practical? No. Will I ever use it? Yeah. Will I use it much? No. But it'll be fine in a shop. You know, I've been trying to establish a line shaft shop, and I'm gonna have to clear some things up. I would love to build an entire line shaft shop and put these machines on it, but a lot of these machines were actually converted at the factory. They weren't never line shaft machines, but they're machines that were designed at the time of line shafts. I'll put it that way. Like this one's actually got a motor on it, but it'll fit in fine in a shop 1910, 1900, somewhere in there. And that's more what I'm probably going to end up establishing. I can't afford to build a new building. If I could, I would build a new building with a line shaft in it, but you're talking about thousands and thousands of dollars, and I can't really afford that. So what I'm planning on doing in the meantime is I'm going to get these machines up and running and kind of put them together in one of my shops here as a say a 1900 era machine shop. You know, nothing after 1920 or something like that. You know, just trying to keep the era the same and do the work on these machines in that shop. Now I have a pretty modern shop, you know, that I've got most of the machines are from the 40s and 50s, and maybe I got one machine from the 80s, but it's not going to be here much longer, I don't think. But that's where I do my work that I get paid to do. This stuff here is for fun, and I really like doing it. So anyway, I'm going to grab the camera, and we're going to come in a little bit closer, and I'm going to show you some of the details of these two drill presses and the grinder. All right, guys, so what we're here's the grinder, and somebody has done some work to it. I mean, they made a brace and they installed an electric motor, but there's the name right there. I don't know if you can read it or not, but it's the Safety Emery Wheel Company, and somebody has cut some of the name out of it. So that's something that we're gonna have to see about repairing it one day. But anyway, it's mounted on like a 1/4-inch plate of steel here, and this little box here, somebody had a phase converter, a static phase converter, and the rest of it's in the back of the truck, and that's how they ran this. This is a 2-horse, I think a 2-horse Century, maybe a 1-horse Century. Anyway, it looks to be about 14-inch, 16-inch grinder. It's got a wheel right there on it. I hadn't got out and measured, but I think you could fit at least 14-inch on there. 2 big old babbitt bearings on it. It's actually got a 2-speed pulley on it, and you know, it was cobbled together with some stuff here, a little water tank, and so on. All right, so the 28-inch drill press here. Let me step up on the trailer. All right, so like I said, the counterweight's missing out of this drill press, so we're gonna have to, whoever keeps it's gonna have to make something out of it. But anyway, it's like I said, it's just the baby brother of the big one. It was sold by Carey Machinery Sales and Supply Company, Baltimore, Maryland. So we can look that up, maybe gain some information from that. But it's 28 inches. It's got feed mechanisms on it. It's all driven with this bevel gear. Now, like the Royceford, it's driven with a bevel gear, but it's slightly different arrangement. All right, so one of the things what I was saying about this is, see, if you notice, here's the shifter for the loose pulley and the fixed pulley, cone pulley drive. Now, I've never seen belt lacings like this. Tell you what, they'd eat you up if you ever got your hands on them. Somebody has rigged up a little motor mount, and it looks like it would work fine. Cone pulley, see the bird do. Everything is driven by gears now, whereas the Royceford is the auto feeds are all belt driven. So we're gonna step back to the 34-inch, and it's basically the same mechanisms, other than there's no feed handle for direct feed, you know, so here's the feed side of the 28-inch. It's got an auto feed, and how this works, I've been kind of looking. Actually, you got a manual feed here. Okay, that feeds it manually, and you stick that back in there like that. Now there should be a shifter somewhere. Here you go. You got a little shifter over here on the side that engages the feeds, and we'll check and see if all that mechanism works or not. There it goes. So it's driving the gears. Up here you have a transmission that shifts in and out, and I think that's neutral. At least it is on the other one. Okay, And so let's step back to the other one. All right, so the biggest difference on the 34-inch is there's no manual feed other than that side there. Most of these drill presses had a handle that pulls down through this side. This one's primarily, I guess if you're pulling a drill bit big enough to use this drill press on, you need to auto feed on it. But to give you an idea how big this thing is, there's my hand, and I guess I have average size hands. It's probably about 6 or 7 inches across there. The compare on the table, you know, the same here. You have, instead of a manual feed, you have this mechanism here that it engages that, and up here is the same. You have the same transmission. There's 4 speeds, and the way it looks, there's a disc, and that disc has holes in it, and you're shifting it to certain holes. Okay, so on this one, like I said, everything is working. This is your elevation mechanism that elevates the table. Now the table will come up a good 1.5 feet, that distance right there if you look, and then the spindle will actually elevate probably another 1.5 feet, or maybe even 2 feet, to allow you to get work underneath it. You also have a nice T-slotted table underneath that you can just pull and roll the drill press basically out the table out the way, and you can work right off of that table. It's a cone pulley setup. There you go, WF and Barnes Company, Rockford, Illinois. And right here, 34-inch drill. I think this is a number 4 or maybe a number 3. I looked it up in the book, and they were giving me numbers like that. Not sure what that mechanism is unless it's a brake for it. Now, Mr. Phil said he thought that this machine may have been in a fire at one point, and it may have. There's some stuff that looks like it, especially on the other side, that looks like it may have gotten hot. But there's no dripping. If you look at the bearings, there's no dripping babbitt anywhere. Okay, and you see that big bevel gear and that gear set up on this thing to drive it. No babbitt. The bearings look actually in pretty good shape on the upper part. Now on the bottom, when I turn it, it's hard to say. I think the bearings are pretty worn down there. We'll have to check that out. And here's what I was talking about. It has a motor mount to drive these two gears. Now, why 2 gears? I don't know. This you have to ask Mr. Barnes. Anyway, so all right, guys. So stepping off the trailer here, and really and truly, it's pretty cool machines. And you know, one more thing. All right, so guys, down here you got a foot lock that will lock the table or something. We'll have to figure out what that does. All right. Well, all right, guys. So there you have it. It's a new week of machine rescue, and instead of rescuing these machines, I'm gonna have to start restoring them. So I was actually contacted today about another machine that needs a home, and don't know yet. So guys, that does it for the video. You know, 2 more or 3 more machines rescued: a belt line shaft grinder, and 2 huge camelback drill presses. Now the 28 one looks kind of puny on the trailer with the 34, but believe me, it's the second largest drill press I've ever seen, other than radial drills, and the 34 inch is the largest I've seen. And like I said earlier in the video, they actually made a 42 inch. So there was one bigger than that, and I think it weighed upwards of 4,500 pounds or something, like 2.5 tons or 2 1/4 tons. And this one, I guess, weighs about 1.5 tons, maybe 2, not quite 2 tons. It was a load, but I'll put it that way. So with all that said, I want to thank everybody for watching. Thank for you watching. All this stuff happens because of what little bit of money I get out of YouTube and Patreon. Now, I don't mention Patreon too much, mainly because I just hate doing that. But there is a couple of guys or guys and gals that do contribute, and I really want to thank them. I know I don't do enough for the Patreon account, but that little bit of money does help. Now, the best thing you can do to help me with these things is to watch the videos, watch the commercials, the ads, or whatever. Because all the money that I make off YouTube, I turn around and put right back into rescuing these machines and rebuilding them. That's how we can do this. So guys, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and thanks for leaving comments. So from the Backyard Machine Shop, so long.